So, hi, I'm Genevieve Jean-Paul, and I'm here with.
Hi, I'm Martha Jaques, the principal of Biddeford High School.
Alright, so, where are you from?
So that's kind of a loaded question. I was born in Michigan, lived there until I was 2 months old, and then my mother I was raised by a single mom who did corporate relocation. So I moved about 30 times by the time I graduated from college. So I lived in Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, California, and then ended up going to school in Vermont. So when people ask me where I'm from, I say Vermont because that's where I graduated from high school. But there was a long road to get there.
Alright, why did you choose to be a principal?
I chose to be a principal because I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I wanted to be able to support students and staff, work with families, and I have a social work background and I've done that for a long time. But I wanted to kind of take my leadership skills to a different level and really enjoyed working in the school systems and in the community and thought that this would be a good combination of my degrees and my skills, and that's why I chose it.
If you could have chosen another job, what would it have been?
Well, I was a social worker, so I guess I kind of did have that job and still do. I still maintain my social work license and still work with students, and I love the social work aspect. I guess if I wanted to do something totally different, I love whales and marine biology, and I think I may have gone the marine biology route.
What do you like most about Biddeford High School?
I love the kind of the sense of pride. I love the sense of community here. My family, my husband's family, they were a long line of teachers here, his uncles and his father, and I think that there are some real deep-rooted tradition in Biddeford. I think that people really love Biddeford and love that Tiger pride. And I think that, especially now that we're all back in person and here at school, I think that developing that and continuing that is really important and, a lot to be commended and said for that we've done that in Biddeford.
What are your goals for Biddeford High School?
Well, I had some teachers ask me that this summer, and it's something that I've thought a lot about, obviously, in the last 2 years. And there are a lot of them. I think I chose just a few to really focus on this year. I think the most important is supporting students, supporting families, and supporting staff. I think that, we've all been through a lot. I think the last 20 months especially have been really hard, and I think that I bring a skill set that can help support students. So one is being supportive and really creating a sense of belonging and wanting people, staff, students, and families to really be a part of the Biddeford High School community. Another goal is to be transparent. I try to part of the reason I moved my office from the main office out into the hallway here is that so students can access me regularly, teachers can. I really like people popping by to ask a question or have a conversation, and I really want to be transparent in my leadership here and about what we're doing. And then really kind of restoring that pride that I talked about earlier. There's a lot of work and groundwork laid here by Principal Sorois and by people before him even around that Tiger pride and really focusing on that and the skills there.
What have been the challenges being a principal with COVID?
I think one of the biggest challenges has been not being able to get to know students and staff. I mean, I knew a lot of people because I had worked in the district prior, but it's very isolating, I mean, I think it's hard with masks, it's hard to read people's facial expressions. I think especially last year, people came in the door, they went right into their classrooms. We're not doing a lot of large assemblies or community events. So one of the challenges is getting to know people. And another I would say is just keeping people safe. It's it's hard because I worry about students and staff, and between, grades 8 through 12, staff and students, there's 1,000 people in this building. And I feel like as the principal here, one of my main jobs is to keep everyone safe, and that's really hard. It's hard. That's part of the reason why I'm always saying, wear your mask right, and, keep your nose covered, and, we have had COVID cases, and we will continue to, and I think one of the challenges is really finding a way to maintain the balance of making relationships with people and creating positive relationships, yet also being the one that's doing the reminders and, doing that.
Did you play any sports in school or any clubs?
Clubs, absolutely. We had, in my high school, we had a program called SOS, which stood for Support Our Students, and it was a group of peer counselors. So I was trained to be a counselor of my other students. So as a student, I helped counsel students. So I did the SOS peer counseling. I was really involved in what was our version of Biddeford Singers, so chorus and singing. And then I was on both the field hockey and lacrosse teams, but as a manager, not a player. I didn't want to wear a kilt. I was I was really embarrassed and self-conscious about my body at the time, and so I decided that I would be the manager. So striving for those leadership skills, developing those since day one.
Do you have any hobbies?
I do. I love to travel. I love to go to live sporting and music events. I love to be with family, and prior to being in education and a social worker, I was a corporate event planner, so I love to plan events and do those. I think COVID has put a little bit of a damper on some of that. And I love kayaking. That's something that actually developed during COVID because I was kind of wanted a safe way to get out and do fun things, and so I started kayaking and spent a lot of time on the water.
Do you have any favorite sports teams?
I do. My ultimate favorite is the Boston Celtics. I'm a huge basketball fan. That would be my favorite. But I also like the Red Sox. I was actually at the game last night. Unfortunately, I was not a good luck charm, and they didn't win. And I like, I say basketball and Boston Celtics. I also like WNBA, and really I love live sporting events. I'll go to any live sporting event. I've been to rodeo shows and races and monster truck rallies and basketball. I used to have a friend with season tickets to the Bruins, so I spent a lot of time at the Garden going to Bruins games. So,
what's your favorite artist or band?
that's a tough one. I love music. Music is something that ever since I was little has been a huge part of my life. And I guess I would say my absolute favorite would be the Indigo Girls. They're kind of a folk rock duo that started in the early 80s and are still touring and playing today. But I've seen them over 50 times live, and I've met them, and that's been a really big part of my life. I also am old enough to have seen Jerry Garcia live with the Grateful Dead, and I used to go to a lot of Grateful Dead shows. But I like any kind of live music. I like live music. We have probably 2 or 3 record players in our house. We listen to music in our cars, in our living room, and we listen to music quite a bit in our house.
All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
letting me
you.
interview you.
Of course. You got it. Good luck.
Thank you.